Guys, welcome to Paris. Wait, there you go. Bienvenue à Paris. Good hello everyone and welcome to the vlog from beautiful Gare du Nord here in Paris. I am very sorry for butchering the name of your beautiful city, but I don't speak French. So the first thing that we do when we get to a new city is of course get to our hotel. And as you can see here, we are at the metro station. The best way to get around Paris, without a doubt, is by the metro. All you have to do is buy a ticket. The ticket will cost about 180 euros, which is the same with the dollar now because economy is crazy. You get into the metro. The metro is not the newest metro that there is in Europe, but it will do the trick. It will get you to your hotel and back to the city center in really no time. Welcome to my hotel. This hotel is actually a hostel. I didn't know this when I booked it, but I booked a single room. It wasn't that bad actually. I paid 80 euros for the night, so for 3 nights I paid around 250 with the taxes. This is my small matchbox sized room. I only got one sink and one shower, but it was okay for me. The next day started kind of chilled. It was a little bit cold outside, so I went on the metro again and had a trip to the Louvre. I was convinced that I had the ticket for the Louvre for the 27th. I got there after a beautiful walk, starting from Place de la Concorde all the way to the Louvre Palace. I got some shots here with an ex-Baccarat place. People play Baccarat here in France, or maybe it still works. I don't know exactly, but I found it interesting as a fan of card tricks and magic and poker and the history of magic and poker and everything. It was interesting for me to see. This is what you want to look for, by the way, when you get to the metro, the Metropolitan sign. And then I got to the Louvre. This is the entrance to the Louvre. And it was by this time that I started to look for my ticket entrance, and I got to the gate and the people told me it's closed. The Louvre is closed on Mondays. And here we are at the Disneyland park. As a good joke, I always tell people how I almost went to the Louvre and got to Disneyland instead. Here I am at the Disneyland parks, and I had a blast at these parks. I have a different video made from the Disneyland parks. I actually have 2 videos, one from the park itself and one from the Walt Disney Studios. Please go watch them. I will link them down below. Here's me on the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Again, me on the teacups. I mean, I never ride anything. I'm scared to ride the roller coasters, the ones that you get at a fair, for example. But here's Disneyland, and I had total faith and confidence, and the food was great, the atmosphere was great. Walt Disney was a genius, still is a genius. His legacy will never die and will inspire me as a creator. And I'm sure people around the world are inspired every single day by his stories and complete magic. Avenger Campus is a new area of the Walt Disney Studios. You can see Spider-Man, you can see Wonder Woman, you can see Iron Man and everything else. Again, really, really great. a great time at the Disneyland park. This is the Montmartre neighborhood in Paris. It is a very lively, very happening place. Lots of hotels, lots of restaurants, and of course one of the main attractions is the Moulin Rouge, or the Moulin Rouge. I don't know exactly how you pronounce it, but it's the big windmill, red windmill thing. It's actually a cabaret, sort of a theater, where pretty girls sing and dance, and you as a man, because it's intended for men in most of the time, but you can also go as a woman, of course. The only problem here with the Moulin Rouge is it was very crowded. I actually wanted to go, but it was very... I don't think there were any more tickets, at least not the entry level, which are $70. There were just 200 plus tickets, and I had to say no. If you don't have much luck like I did at the Moulin Rouge, the entire area around this place in Montmartre is all about having fun, as you can see here from the images. And not just for sex, you can also have fun drinking and partying and clubbing out until the early hours of the morning. Well, in a dramatic turn of events, we are going from the Moulin Rouge to one of the most beautiful cathedrals or churches in Paris. This is called Sacre Coeur. And we are taking the funicular to the top of the Montmartre hill. It is quite a climb from the Moulin Rouge, so I got the funicular. It was again €1.80. This is one of the most impressive churches that I've ever seen in my life. The lighting up of the church is beautiful. It is white, so even in daylight it's shining away. Especially at nighttime when the lights are going on, everything's just bright and beautiful, every detail of the church. And also you can get a beautiful view of the city itself, but again, the star of the show is definitely the Montmartre Cathedral here on top of the hill. Absolutely beautiful. It was the perfect end of the day. It gets you thinking, you know. Even if you're not a spiritual person, it gets you thinking. It gets that motor running inside of your mind, which is always a beautiful thing to stop and reflect. So the 28th of September came and we were at the Louvre. Right here you can see the beautiful entrance with the inverse pyramid. There are 5 pyramids at the Louvre made out of glass. This is one of the ladies without hands, poor her. And this one has no head, but it has some wings. You know the names, I'm not gonna go into that. The Louvre is a beautiful palace, and the treasures that you're going to see here are... You need to have a little bit of knowledge of, you know, arts and stuff in order to be able to appreciate the works of art here, but this is the Mona Lisa. I mean, everybody knows about her. Everybody knows how valuable and how beautiful and how much technique Da Vinci put into making that painting and whatnot. Here is a pyramid cake that was very good. I highly recommend you go and have a cake there. Don't have the coffee though, because it's really terrible at the cafe, and the view is beautiful. Everything that you're going to see in the Louvre is a work of art on itself. It's just like at the Vatican museums, where the building itself, the interiors of the building are absolutely immaculate, absolutely beautiful. Even if you just walk by, you're going to see some of the most beautiful things that you'll ever see, including architecture, such a beautiful blending of old and new. The Louvre is just spectacular, and I highly, highly recommend you go and see this amazing museum. After all of that walking around the Louvre, which was about, I'm not sure exactly, but it was about 10 kilometers of walking that morning in about 3 hours. So, and then a bit more walking because I didn't want to go to the metro. So I just started walking around until I hit this aisle where the Notre Dame is. And here I stumbled upon one of the best restaurants, I guess, in Paris. I did no previous research. I just sat down because it smelled amazing, and this is what I got. I got one of the best fish dishes of my life. I've made a complete video on French food in Paris. This is from a boulangerie right down the streets from my hotel, where the croissant was €1.30. And yeah, that's a happy face there. You just cannot be unhappy with that loot, that morning loot. Yes, again, you can go and watch the video dedicated to Paris, to French food. It is absolutely beautiful. One of the best foods I've ever had anywhere in the world. So this is the Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris. This is one of the most famous landmarks of the city. Unfortunately, part of the church caught on fire not a long time ago. It was all over the news, and they're still doing reconstruction, so the church was unavailable for visits, but the area around it is absolutely beautiful with the river and everything. I did a quick stop at the Pantheon of Paris. This is one of the more important monuments of the French capital, the burial place of many important French figures. I then walked around and got myself to the gardens of Luxembourg. These are some beautiful public gardens. You'll see many French people here just having a chill or having their lunches on the grass or somewhere on the chairs right by the water. Children playing around. Everything is in a good atmosphere, a good vibe, and it's definitely a place to chill back and relax for a little bit. If you are a fan of the Da Vinci Code and Dan Brown, there is absolutely no way you don't know about this church. This is one of the churches that were featured in the movies and the books, and of course it gained huge popularity amongst the fans of the novels, and as well as with many scholars and people who love a good story, a good conspiracy, and a good overall experience of life. So I started my last day in Paris at the Place de la Concorde. Again, I'm sorry for butchering your French. French is a beautiful language, but unfortunately, I kind of skipped class in high school. The school cafeteria was a bit more attractive for me, unfortunately. I walked down the embassy lane, or I don't know exactly what the name is, but this is where most embassies are and of course the Elysee Palace, where the French president residence is. Heavy security. I shouldn't have gone there because there's not much to see, so don't waste your time if you're in the area. And then I went for the Champs-Élysées. This is one of the most famous streets in the world, not just in Paris. Many shops, many opportunities, like the Disney shop, the Stranger Things shop. I didn't even know there is a Stranger Things shop. The most famous mall on the Champs-Élysées is called the Lafayette Galleries. This is where you're going to find the most luxurious brands, like you got Dior, you got Karl Lagerfeld, the Balenciaga. I don't even know exactly how you pronounce these because these are way off my budget, and even if I were to be rich, I wouldn't bother with buying these clothes just because I know many decent and medium priced brands like Guess or Pull&Bear. I love those and they always do the trick for me. But if you're into that, or if you're into good chocolate, you can visit the galleries. They have a little food court downstairs with decent prices. Or if not, there's always a Five Guys somewhere, or a Pole, or a Brioche Dorée. There's also a lottery right in the middle of the Champs-Élysées. As you can see, you just cross the streets from the Lafayette Galleries, and you got your Louis Vuitton, you got your Dior and everything else. Again, you need a lot of money for this, but surprisingly there was a queue outside the Louis Vuitton, so that's incredible. This is the Arc de Triomphe. As you know, it is a landmark of Paris, one of the most important monuments in the city. You can visit it, you can even go up. There's an elevator that takes you up on the top of the arc, and then you can have a 360 view of the city. And finally, after 3 full days in Paris, I was visiting the Eiffel Tower, the landmark of the city. To be completely honest, I really enjoyed visiting this monument. It has a rich history. It was made for a world fair, made out of iron. Some say that the iron came from my country, from Romania. I don't know exactly if that's fact or just legend, but the overall aspect of the tower is quite surprising. It's much bigger than it looks in the photos. Some people say that it's much smaller, but if you're in central Paris, you're going to see it from everywhere. Unfortunately, during the time of my visit, it was closed, I guess, so I had to skip it, but yeah, the Eiffel Tower is France. Thank you so much for joining me. Again, very much appreciate your time, and until the next episode, please check the description box for every single video that I've made in France. You won't regret it, and until the next one, thank you and see you later.